A lot of process went into this video, but I'm going to tell it like it is. America, we're not free. Land of the free, 4th of July, 1776. What did our forefathers fight for? We talk about freedom in our country. And as history goes, it seems to repeat itself because people get complacent over time and forget what actually freedoms were fought for. And it's sad. What did those founders fight for in this country? They fought England, a large government, king and queen, to get away from large government and taxation. The first tax in this country was to raise a militia, an army, to fight England. Yeah, we got help from France, I recall. History books, they don't answer these questions very much over the years, but with each law, rule, regulation that's ever passed in our country, they take a little more freedom, and they change. The politicians change the laws to suit themselves. Conflict of interest is politicians writing their own salary, wages, and benefits. Yeah, they write those laws into place and give themselves raises. It benefits who? The politicians themselves. They shouldn't make any more than 10 to 15% more than the average median American. It should be put into law, and term limits need to be put back in place on the federal, state, and local city and town governments. And they've been running awry too. Unfair voting is only 10 or 15% of the people in the country voting on a local state issues. They should have absentee ballots, and 100% of all people should vote to have a true democracy in this country. And people could get mail those in the warrants to their house, and everyone should vote. Yes, that'd be a true, fair, equal, and just process. But when across the country, that's not a democracy anymore. All right, let's speak of freedom. All right, from the time we're born, Roe versus Wade. Oh, they're dictating to us laws about who's in charge of being born. Oh, and as I recall, most animals in our world didn't have to pay large sums of money to get born. True. Okay, now moving on. Taxation. Taxation of everything. That's not right, fair, equal, or just either. Our founders fought against that. Now today absolutely everything is taxed, from even the internet, and many things are taxed more than others. And oh yes, our own personal property, our motorized vehicles, boats, toys, boats, trucks, RVs, campers, anything that's our personal property should only have to be licensed and identified once. Why? Because it's our property. What right does our government or any state or local city and town have a right to license and register our property for money each and every year? Aren't we the people supposed to make the decision? Once would be enough. And don't say, oh, it's for roads and bridges, because it's not. Gasoline and subsidized big oil companies have been raping the people for years. And there's gas taxes, and bonds that pay for the roads and bridges and air infrastructure. Conflict of interest is our politicians writing their own wages, salaries, and benefits. Yeah, that's conflict of interest. And retroactive back pay. Really? When the rest of us Americans are out of work, we're out of work for a reason. We're not going to get our back pay out of it. Union workers go on strike, they lose money. Yeah, that's right. Or they renegotiate for better pay. You don't get retroactive back pay. That's just wrong. It's conflict of interest. All right, so I talked about registering licenses. I believe it's wrong. One time should be enough. As for pictured identifications, yeah, I think everybody should be identified once every 5 to 7 years. Yeah, people's faces change and they age, they get old. Every 5 to 7 years. one universal identification for picture driver's license or non-drivers, or passports. Let's say they could even have fingerprints and DNA, and it's just unruly. One identification once every 5 to 7 years would be enough. Another thing going down the road. Uh, yeah, it's nice to have safety on the road and have our vehicles inspected. But yeah, maintenance on your car, taking care of it, get it in the dealer. There's something going wrong. But once every 3 years, 30,000 miles would be more than sufficient. And if people are educated to drive, something's going wrong with their car. It's making noises, the lights are on, the pressure's not right, oh, it's not steering or braking right, and get it in and get it serviced. Common sense. Education with driver education should be on that for safety on our nation's highways would be more than enough. As for fairness on lending, yeah, when we speak of monetary control and overtaxation, well, monetary control is all Americans paying, hear me out, paying 2 to 3 times as much over cash value of their homes. It's called compounded interest, controlled by our government, FDIC. Yeah, right. Our politicians, they get their little hands in the picture, and the bankers, and spreading money around through our financials. So they got their hands into everything. 2 to 3 times. Add it up. Look at your mortgage on your house. I paid $121,000. The final paperwork was $333,000. I refinanced after 4 years. My payments were about $1,100 to $1,050, and I knocked off 10 years of payments, and I saved myself $100,000. But it still cost me almost twice as much as over the cash value on my house. So I had to work a little harder, work a little longer, all these years. Is that freedom? Oh, and then using credit cards. Oh, that's really nice. Let's take out a personal loan. Oh, you're paying all this thing called compounded interest. There you are again, paying more and more money and make you work harder and longer. And the next thing you get old, and then you have all this, let's say student loans or personal loans, and all these things add up over time. You've worked your whole life by being monetarily controlled through money. That's not freedom, my friends. We're not free. From the day we're born till the day we die, we're monetarily controlled. And the bad part about, the death, now we got a thing in there called the death tax. So your inheritance tax. There's ways around it. Your parents can sign their stuff over you before they die, and they can beat some of that death tax stuff. But, the death taxes, what happens to single people when they die and they don't have anyone left? Well, let's expand. We've been paying in all these years for Social Security. Yeah, I've been a shipyard welder for 35 years, 3 shipyards, Bath Iron Works out in Bath, Maine, North Kingston, Rhode Island. I was there for a time, Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. Oh, yeah, those 3 shipyards. And then oil field tools down in Houston, Texas. Numerous other jobs, movie projections, taxi driver, landscaper, carpenter, had my own welding business for a time, 6 or 7 pizza places at many different states, delivering pizza, driving taxi, landscaper, carpenter, clean cars, wash dishes, bellhop, gas station, waiter, worked in a mailroom, drove a forklift, sandblasted, painted, was a painting contractor, was a roofer. I've done a lot of those other jobs, manual labor jobs. Busy, hardworking Americans got a tough time getting around these days. And sometimes you got to pick up and move from one state to another because it gets economically depressed. It happens. I've been broke 4 or 5 times. I know what I'm talking about. We're not free in this country. We're monetarily controlled. And you know what that means? We're all made slaves. We're slaves to our own system, and you look at those graves of the founding fathers of our country, they'd be rolling over in their graves and saying, this is wrong. Something needs to be done. We need to take our country back. Part of it has to do with term limits. Yeah. Getting the corrupt people out of Washington. Not always looking at the elite millionaires as, gods or very special people, because they're not. They know how to use the system, and they use their families and friends and business associates to make them very rich. Oh, well, that's capitalism, isn't it? Well, to what end? We got a minimum wage, right? Well, when it involves government contracts, that's government contracts. That's taxpayers' money. Then there ought to be a maximum wage. Yeah, I said maximum wage to put a cap. Yeah, on how much government money is actually going to government contracts, government subsidies, or healthcare industry, or all these other things the government pays for. That's government money. That's taxpayers' money. Your money and my money that we work so hard for. And then we have this Trump. He's a good guy. He's giving back the system. He's not even using his own wages. He's paying back to the vets. But as for Obama squandering $10 trillion, give me a break. Why isn't that investigated? Not a word. No investigations whatsoever. Nobody even questioned it. No investigations, no accountability. Who the money went to, where it went to, and what for. Not investigated. Don't we find that a little something wrong with that? And money, billions and millions of dollars going over to Iraq and Palestinian government who attack our allies, the Kurds, Kuwait, Iraq. Obama micromanaged the war over there, pulled people out of the Middle East, and advertised it to the world. Oh, we're leaving. Well, ISIS comes over and takes over Iraq in world record time, driving our military weapons seen on TV for months and months on year, maybe a year or two. It was sick. So whose side was he on? Oh, he gives money to terrorist supporting nations. Nobody even batted an eye. He had Mr. Morsi from the Muslim Brotherhood invited to the White House. Mr. Obama did. Where is Mr. Morsi now? Check the facts. I Googled it. He's in prison over in, Egypt. They overthrew him in the Muslim Brotherhood with 19 other people that are in prison. They call them terrorist supporters who, kill Christians. ISIS too. They're killing Christians in the Middle East, destroying historical sites and Christian churches. Oh, yeah. Ironic? Let's talk about ironic. We had Osama bin Laden attack the Twin Towers and Pentagon, the White House that went down in Pennsylvania, some places here in the United States. Killed 3,000 of our people. Oh, yeah. That was a Muslim. Osama bin Laden, pretty bad guy. I'd say Obama did as much damage as Osama bin Laden. He's a Muslim too. Remember my Muslim faith statement and chastising Christians? Yeah, whose side was he on? Let's take down the nativity scenes and the biblical things on our federal state buildings and local cities and towns across this country. No nativity scenes of Jesus Christ in our country. That's called a POSTSPY, apostrophe. That's called abandoning one's faith, Christian faith. Had Obama done that over in a Muslim country, he would have been put to death. Yeah, that's right. That was Mr. Obama. He had a secret meeting with Louis Farrakhan. Yeah, Louis Farrakhan. Who is Louis Farrakhan? He's a white Jewish racist in Chicago calling for the deaths of whites and Jews. No other races were involved to that meeting. Maxine Waters and 5 black Democrats are in Congress who want Mr. Trump impeached. Were any other races involved to that meeting before Obama was ever elected? That's the shame of the Democrats, not not seeing Obama was properly vetted, properly to begin with. Secret meeting held out from the American people. Black photographer came forward with the news that Mr. Obama had done that. Secret meeting, all black meeting with Louis Farrakhan. That's not right. Obama lied right from the beginning, kept from the American public's eyes. And in the end, millions upon billions of dollars going to terrorist supporting countries. Mr. Morsi's a terrorist and Egyptian president. He didn't get any Nobel Peace Prize for that. There were no peace dealings. Just give him a nuclear bomb. Oh, to the guys that say we'll wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Yeah, that was Iran. Yeah, and the Palestinian government digging tunnels under and trying to kill Israelis. So Obama's not. He's a treasonist in my book, a traitor and treasonist to our country, and should be tried as such in our courts. It's not funny. Look at the facts. Where did all that money go? $10 trillion investigated. In fact, I think they ought to invest all our politicians. Never questioned, never investigated or accounted for. There's 355? Yeah, I think they ought to all be investigated. All the contractors and all the money to see where it went. And everybody ought to be prosecuted and clean up our government. Term limits need to be put back in place, and they need to end a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse in our government today. They need to clean Washington out. Clean out the swamp, Mr. Trump. I'm all behind you. I think you get more people behind you, and they need to see where the hell that $10 trillion goes. You don't do that, you're wasting your time there. You need to investigate where the real news is, where $10 trillion went. That's where the real story is. That's the factual. 20% of uranium sold to Russia actually went under Hillary and Obama. Where was the 24/7 news on that? Well, I've said my piece. I pray to God this reaches all Americans. They need to hear it. We need to clean Washington out, and I think all the politicians need to be investigated. All their assets, yeah, their assets, just like we are. Our homes, our cars, our onshore, offshore bank accounts, overseas accounts, bank withholdings, all their money, where it's come from. And the IRS ought to be taxing the shit out of them. Right, fair, equal, and just, like everybody else. Any shit he doing, they should be doing some prison time then too. And as for government contracts and subsidies, they shouldn't be getting any campaign donations. At my idea for campaign reform, how that works, they should have free, equal, just airtime, tax deductible by all networks. Yes, all networks, tax deductible, unbiased news. Each and every candidate gets free, equal airtime on all stations. Unbiased. That's right. Unbiased by any news station. Otherwise, they don't get the tax deduction, but they still have to put it out there. Yeah, unbiased on all the political reporting, tax deductible. And any money raised by any of the politicians should go to repair national debt. That should be first and foremost. And ending of foreign aid. Enough of that money's gone out over the years. And the foreigners that are coming here are mailing money overseas anyway. So the foreign aid ought to be stopped. And the repayment of our own national debt ought to come into play. And there ought to be 50% trade dealings with this country. Yeah, 50% export, 50% import. Half the shipbuilding, our shipbuilding. They don't build any commercial ships here anymore. And me being a shipbuilder for 35 years, I see it. Yeah, they should build 50% of the ships that take import, export stuff should be made right here in this country. And as for automobiles, they don't need to import any more automobiles. No, it should be 50-50. That's the way I am, 50-50. That's the way everything should be on a trade, dollar for dollar. We need to start bringing more jobs back into this country and bring back our industrial nation. All right. Take care. God bless America. I love our country, but I see a lot of many things wrong. And I hope we the people can change it. Call your politicians today. And like I said, we got to straighten Washington. We need to call them, talk them, turn things around, term limits, politicians, wage reductions to 10 or 15% above average median income Americans, campaign reform, ending a lot of free foreign aid money going out of their country and getting a balanced 50-50 trade dealings. And 50% of the shipbuilding ships should be coming from our country alone and repaying our national debt. Yeah, all these countries can help do that. We've been bailing them out long enough. It's time for them to pony up. Take care. God bless. This is Guy Chris Urban signing off. Thank you. Good day. Bye.